Game development is hard.
Game dev is hard.
Game development is hard.
Making a complete video game entirely by yourself is one of the hardest things you could ever possibly do.
Game development is hard, but it's not the task, it's getting started with game development that is hard. Many players start to play a game and sometimes they think, oh, I'd want to make a game too. I'd want to develop a game and make it better, or an idea I have. This usually leads them to making their first game. But many junior game developers start off making a game, but they don't know how to code, which is a main part of game development. Starting out with coding can be an overwhelming experience. It can make them feel like they don't learn anything or it's too complicated. It's hard to understand the logic at first. In this survey, I asked 8 people that are game developers in my program, and 5 out of them said that they feared coding at one point. But now only 2 of them still do. Also 4 of them, coding is their favorite part. But 2 of them, coding is their least favorite part. And here's the definition of fear of code to them. So how can we deal with the fear of coding? I believe there's 2 solutions. The first one is understanding the logic, and the second one is understanding and reading documentation online. When programming, there's 2 main types of programming languages. There is block-based languages and text-based languages. Block-based languages are more easy to understand, while text-based languages are harder but way more efficient. Aspiring game developers don't need that performance. They need to understand the logic behind their code so they can get experience. I interviewed Joshua Ouellet, a junior game developer, to ask for his opinion on which type of language is better. First, I made a little game where you click on a cube, and when you do, there's a number between 1 and 6 that gets printed on the cube, and if you score 6, there will be a message that said you scored 6. Look at this code. So let's compare the codes. The first one is only 3 blocks. Yep. You can see here the setup is like this, and oh yeah, when you read this, do you understand how it works?
Yeah, I do think it's a lot more easier. You know, it's because I can see the step-by-step process that the code goes through.
Yeah, the logic. Here's the code in HTML and JavaScript. I think you could see why one is more easy than the other. Type-based languages can also be intimidating at first. This is because they seem to be more complex, even though most of the time it's not true. This leads me to my next point: documentation. Documentation can be found on every game engine, or language. Be it web or game, there will always be documentation on it. For example, Unity's documentation, Godot's documentation, Stack Overflow, which is JavaScript documentation. And if you can't find anything with the documentation, you can always go on Google and search your problem and try to find someone who had the same bug or problem as you. My friend Joshua had this to say. What do you do when you're stuck?
When I'm stuck, I usually go on Google. It's a really good resource to look up any problems that you have with the software.
So if you start out with coding and you're scared, you should use block language at first and always check documentation. Thank you for watching this video. I hope that this video helped you overcome your fear of coding, or at least that you learned something new.